Welcome back to our series about building Redmaw Canyon. Today we're going to build the generator building, and the camera had some issues during the filming process, so some steps are missing. But I think of this as an inspirational video that should show you what's possible with some old electronic boxes, the bits you have laying around, and a little bit of fantasy. We start by cleaning all the model lines from this box I bought at the do-it-yourself store. Usually it's used to do electronic installation in the house, and it should look clean. Well, it's a building, it's nothing that's produced in big quantities to lay around and be hidden behind a wall anyway in the end. So take your time for that step. It really influences the overall look you will achieve in the end. I like these boxes because they already have very interesting shapes on them. Things you would need a lot of time to build yourself, and sometimes shapes that you just don't imagine yourself. And you will see that the look of your box will influence your thoughts, will influence what you see in your fantasy for the end product. Everyone has its own strengths and weaknesses, and you really fast learn how to deal with them. We start with the chimneys. I just use PVC tubes and cut them with a jigsaw. And we use the tube to measure the length of a second piece. Nothing complicated here. Be sure that you don't have your painting water or open bottles with thinner on your table, because the whole thing gets a lot of movement. We use sandpaper to clean the edges. And again, cleaning up at the beginning will make your building look better in the end. These boxes actually are meant to be opened for the installation, and you can remove parts of the boxes very easy with a knife, scalpel or something like that. And the form really guides you when you build. I saw the two holes and thought, well, chimneys would look good there, they did in the end. And sometimes your box holds surprises for you. I put another smaller PVC tube into the first ones to create a second layer on the surface, and that's really important. A flat tube will never look good. There has to be some areas that are thicker or thinner, or at least some detail on them. And then you start just to add more and more pieces, adding volumes. This is another electronic part from the do-it-yourself store. And using these pre-made shapes and volumes really saves us a lot of time and brings in some designs that you would have a hard time come up with, or at least building them. Just glue things to it, let it grow. Always dry fit everything before you do that, because sometimes you will change your mind. I rip parts off again at a regular basis and then have to sand away the glue, so just dry fit before that. It's important to look at your box. Here there were some screws. I had to remove them so it could lie flat on the table. And in the next step I will add some guitar wire. It has a really nice texture on it with small riffles. Or ripples, I don't know. And it makes great tubes. And every texture and surface that you add to your building will make it look a little bit more realistic, a little bit more as if it could stand somewhere and work. Use super glue to glue everything together, and also all the pieces are made of plastic. I only use super glue because it are different plastics. Plastics that won't melt if you use the normal plastic glue. And you're on the safe side with super glue here. And again, just grab everything you can, put it on your building, and decide whether it looks good or not. Old bits from tanks, from infantry, caps of glue bottles. I collect that stuff since years. I have, well, quite an amount of boxes with that stuff in them, and someday you can use most of it. Some will never been used, but that's not a problem. As long as you have a space, keep all that stuff. In the next step I will add some smaller details, vents, pistons, all that stuff that adds life to the flat surfaces. And we have to avoid flat surfaces because they look dead, they look artificial. We need life there. We need much to happen, much that the eye can rest on or go from happening point to happening point. And now the first video part is missing. You can see there are some more small details, and I decided to add a base plate. It looked a little bit lost without that. And I will add some wires there, more tacky bits, until I like everything. And now that we have that base plate, we have a lot more stability in the whole thing and can glue in the chimneys. The walls of the plastic box weren't solid enough to support them, so I added the plate. Speaking is really hard if you never sleep. Try to get everything symmetrical. If you look for an industrial appearance, sand away the super glue that's spread out of the parts. And the whole thing's taking shape right now, I guess. Some things of the video miss, already told it. Well, it's very sad, but I'll just make another scratch build video. We also have a big chimney building left to show. And basically it's just building up your basic volumes in the beginning and then adding stuff, adding stuff, adding stuff. And when you think it's overloaded, well, you can take things away, or you just reach the point that is perfect for Warhammer 40k. You can see I use gypsum parts, I use resin, I use metal, plastic. Superglue is our only chance to get all the pieces together. And again, more volume. You can save it too often. It's really important that you add stuff to your structure so that it gets the life it needs to draw attention of the people looking on it. You can do this with very basic tools. You don't have to have such a fancy jigsaw, just use a normal one. And superglue, a scalpel, maybe a clipper, and we have all the tools we need for that. The rest is rubbish I collected, and the whole building did cost in total around €5. That's maybe, don't know. It's max $10 maximum. And that I paid only for the electric box, and the base plate is the upper part of another electronic box. All the rest is stuff I had laying around. Now compare that with the prices you pay for pre-finished buildings and the kids Games Workshop sells or all the other companies sell. And now let's have a final last look on it. You see I added lots of stuff. There are screws in the 4 holes the basic plate had. I fixed them with green stuff so I could fix it on the gaming table, but also take it away just in case you needed to put it on another gaming table or just in your showcase after the exhibition is finished. And there are tubes with green stuff. There are much more parts. And you see, it would be boring without all the little details, and after they're painted everything comes together. It looks a bit weird right now with all the different colors of plastic, but believe me, it will come together. And this will be one of our next videos, painting this building we built today. Maybe scratch your own until then, and then paint it. Hope you liked that video. Tune back in.